Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we're here for the IMSA Pilot Challenge. Yes, 6 2-hour endurances over the course of 2022 Season 4, taking us to some of the best tracks in the world. Now, of course, I've already done a couple of races in the TCR Sprint Series, of course 30-minute races following a very, very similar calendar. So I thought we'd jump in today with the GT4 cars, and it was definitely the wise choice to make because, well, I think we've got a... That's impressive. I wasn't even on the throttle there and it's managed to loop itself round. But yeah, we've got over 300 sign-ups for this one. And there was about 20 TCR cars. So I think they're going to be all lumped into one split. However, we have got plenty of GT4 cars here. We are, I think, in second or third split. I want to say it might even be fourth split for this one. But 40 GT4 cars are going to be heading around Daytona here for a 2-hour endurance. And to be fair, would I rather have 20 cars to race with or 40 cars? I don't quite know. Sometimes the multi-class stuff is very, very good fun on this sim. But 1.9k SOF, we're currently, of course, after that nightmare Porsche Cup race that you might have checked out a couple of days ago, a little bit under the 2k threshold at the moment. We're the highest rated car, actually, with less than 2,000 I rating. So fingers crossed today, if we get a good run, we'll be able to push ourselves back over that 2k mark. But first of all, we've got to try and get a qualifying lap in. Let's just make sure we keep it clean and tidy and get a good time on the board.
P2.
The bus stop that time round is going to carry us a little bit of extra speed back round to the start-finish line. Of course, Daytona so much dominated by the ovals. Still, you have got to be a little bit careful. So even a couple of tenths is going to bring us a bit further away from the midfield gaggle and right towards the front runners here. As up towards the start-finish line, it might slot us back up into provisional P3 as we head over the start-finish line. It is going to be a 1 minute 53.414. Just over a tenth away from current fastest, but that's a pretty competitive time, but we are going to see a lot change up. Right, well here we are then, ready to start the 2-hour endurance race here from Daytona, and it looks like it's the Mercedes show for at least week 1 of this championship. I thought it was a pretty competitive car down the straights, but honestly I just really wish I'd driven this car more last season, of course. But we have got, yeah, 3 of the 4 cars that out-qualified me are also Mercedes, if I'm not mistaken. Should have a bit more variety though around the order. I was actually very tempted by the BMW M4 for this, but apparently it's not as competitive there, so I'm not too disappointed with the choice I made. But 2 hours ahead of us, going to be about 63 that race here today, so we'll have to wait and see if we can just keep it clean and tidy early on, try to latch on with this front group and break away from the midfield. But just got to keep it clean and tidy, you know, it's a long old afternoon ahead of us, and let's just make sure we don't do anything stupid too early on, as it looks like it is going to be green flag racing. Then immediately we've got the jump on Tom on the outside there, the only Aston Martin in this front gaggle, but it's down in towards turn 1. Let's just keep it clean and tidy there. Try to get on your right the back of the guy in front.
Still
actually get a nice tidy run there.
Right side's clear.
So we'll inherit P3 then off the start of this race. But again, you know, cold tyres, cold rubber, full tank of fuel. Got the mystery machine there trying to have a look up the inside on the exit of the first couple of turns. Then down in towards the kink on that one. He's going to be brave if he wants to keep it on the outside.
Still there.
Just blend the throttle slightly, but he is going to keep the nose there. We'll just make sure we give him the room.
Clear rock car right.
As we go around the next horseshoe.
Clear right.
Not quite going to be able to hook it up around the outside there, so fair play to Tonono. Started just outside of me, but has worked his way through straight up into the podium places then, as it looks like we have got now 4 Mercs locked into the top 4. There might be 5 actually, because I think Kai as well is in a Mercedes. So yeah, it's definitely the Merc show at the start of this, but who knows, you know, maybe one of the other cars is going to be better on his tyres. You just don't quite know what's going to happen here, as of course fuel management, things like that. I don't quite know what we're going to be able to do stint-wise either. You know, I think it is probably going to be a 2-stop race, but we'll have to wait and see as down in towards the bus stop lap 1. One bit of lock in there, so we'll pick up 1 off track for our troubles. Of course, got to keep the instant count low today, but this is a good opportunity to actually try and gain some SR once more, of course. I mentioned that nightmare we had in the Porsche Cup race that went live a couple of days ago. This will be a good chance to sort of recover a lot of the iRacing and the SR lost, of course. Just get into a nice tidy rhythm. Daytona's not the worst track in the world for instant points, you know, especially down at turn 1. You get away with quite a lot there, as here goes Tonono towards the outside there, back down towards turn 1. Speeds upwards of 170 miles an hour. These GT4 cars are not slow. So we are, yeah, up the 1 spot into P4 off the start, and we'll just sit back and let these guys duke it out early on. You know, if we can get involved, then we certainly will. Ooh. Very, very big, brave attempt there. Oh, tiny bit of contact, actually, between the 2 in front of me. Again, you know, only 17 instant, well, 25 maximum 17 you get a drive-through, which, of course, around here is just going to be all about trying to stick in the slipstream. You really don't want to be picking up 4Xs early on in a race like this. You know, they can really come back to haunt you later on in the day, as Nikolai runs a little bit wide, but gathers it all up. Formula 1 safety car paint scheme there, as it looks like we are slowly building up that gap over the 1 second mark. That's definitely going to be a 4X for those two. That's exactly what I mean there, as we'll get up the inside.
He's still there.
And we will make a cheeky double overtake out of it in the end, but unfortunately, Giacomo at the front
Nicely done.
will have just broken free ever so slightly then. So yeah, I mean, Tonono very, very aggressive. Since this is a 2-hour event, you try and get a good run through the bus stop if you want to try and stay close. Giacomo here as we head down in towards the chicane for the second time. Just nice and tidy. 4th gear on the way in, 3rd gear through the middle part, and then short shift it back into 4th on the exit, really launch the car off the corner, and look at that. Guys behind have cost each other plenty of time. Now suddenly on just lap 2 of this race we've got a 2nd in front, a 2nd back, but I'm not sure, we're definitely not in the slipstream of Giacomo in front. These GT4 cars do give off a fair bit of dirty air, which of course means there is a bit more slipstream that can be had. Oh, we're getting a faint draft off him as we head back over the start-finish line. We do gain a bit more.
The leader has just done a
top end.
53.4 V2. Sector 1 is 0.4 off the pace.
Just trying to coax the car nicely through turn 1, but a 2-second gap to the cars in front, to the cars behind, sorry. Let's just focus on keeping this gap and bringing it the right way, just with the help of the slipstream. Smooth and steady in these GT4 cars, that is the key. They're like GT3 cars, we've got to nurse them along a bit more, of course, because they just don't quite have the same amount of grip. Immediately, we are looking fairly confident here. We're just trying to settle down, though. And again, you know, no mistakes early on. Could be a long afternoon if you've got to try and slog your way through 40 GT4 cars to try and get back towards the front, but as we head back out towards the banking, you'll see there, Giacomo running very, very wide on the way in. We got a very good run out of here last time round. Not quite going to be the same this time, but we're on the 1 second cusp, which means we should just be still again in the draft, and that's the most important thing. Let's just sit down and focus then. We are 5 minutes in, an hour 55 to go.
1.0 seconds.
And this must be the frustration at the moment. I mean, Giacomo is definitely much quicker than me, but I mean, we're just pulling out ahead of Nikolai. He's now apparently just sat by himself here, so no idea what's gone on behind him. But I mean, top 5 separated by 8 seconds already. But not far into this race, you can just see how much slipstream you get from the car in front there. Like I said, he's probably got about half a second raw pace over me each lap, but you lose much more than that just through the oval. As you can see, really nice trying to run that time round actually off the banking. This might give us a chance to go for a run as we head back down towards turn 1 there. Still less than 10 minutes in though to this race, and you can see we have got a monstrous run this time round, and it only gets more and more as you get towards the top end here. These cars, the slipstream really does help out when you get into top gear. Mark, of course, got a lot of torque, but can we try and get a run then back down towards turn 1? Is he going to try and play it defensive here? Yes, he is. Quite happily moved to the outside.
That's the fastest lap of the race. You've just done a 152.8. There
we go, 52.8. Goes to show once we've got the slipstream, we are actually pretty competitive.
Yes, 152.4.
But that's the power of the slipstream around here. You really can set some very, very quick lap times. So we're going to try and sit with him then over the course of these next couple of laps.
Don't give him any respite.
Crew chief absolutely bang on. We've just got to keep the pressure on early on in this race. Anything can happen here at Daytona, and often it will. Such a good track, a very, very different track for endurance racing to a lot of other venues around the world. So I think having issues do see quite a few disconnects early on in a race like this. Of course, where it's such a long race, even if you pick up a bit of damage, it's going to cost you down the straight. So there we go, Kai, one of the front runners early on, already out of it. Yeah, if you get a little bit of damage early on, it's just costing you a couple of tenths, of course, even just down the straights. That can make such a big difference and really ruin your afternoon. So I think you're naturally going to see a lot of people, if they get issues early on, just calling it quits. I think there's 4 lobbies, or 4 races even, I should say, for this. Only really one of them is a sensible time for me in the UK.
B2.
Saturday afternoon one. So we'll try and get a run out off the corner. I mean, I think one of them is at 1 AM tomorrow morning for me. One of them was like 5 AM this morning, and then the other one is at 9 PM tomorrow night. So I could do that one if I really wanted to, but 9 PM on a Sunday night is a little bit late, even for me. But can we try and get a run then on this Mercedes this time around? We're going to be a whole lot closer. We'll pull to the outside. Maybe we'll have the overspeed as we head back down towards turn 1. We'll wait and see what happens. Crossing the line in the lead, I think, for the first time today.
Still there. Clear left.
Very, very wide.
153.
Turn 1. But we will again slot back in behind there as Charlie up in front. Still going for it, but losing a lot of time. Maybe not confident in the GT4 cars. We'll have to wait and see. But this could end up being a really interesting race. But then again, we are less than 12 minutes in. I guess the other really important thing we've got to remember here is Charlie will be boxing at the end of this lap apparently, is of course that there's no real point in us battling each other too hard early on. I mean, we still know Tonono is very, very quick as well, so, you know, why would we let those guys easily gain a good few seconds on us and of course then get the slipstream again? But we can just work together. Like I said, Giacomo is very, very fast despite no slipstream, so we are kind of just hanging on to him. So why not just use his pace, build up, say, a 10-15 second margin over the cars behind, as Charlie apparently isn't pitting then at the end of that one. He is going to spin his car around though.
Turn 1.
Struggling for confidence down at turn 1. It really is a difficult corner, of course. I haven't struggled with it as much in the GT4s, as I'm not trying to battle you like this, man. I just want to work with you early on.
Come on, nail him already.
Crew chief's got different ideas, but yeah, I mean, there's no real point in just battling each other too hard too early, because of course we're just going to lose out time. I don't really know the best way to sort of signal to him as well that I'm not after a race early on. We've got to work together at the front of the field. 10 minutes left, yeah, the gloves will be coming off and I'll be sending it, but 10 minutes in, 2-hour endurance, there's no real point. And if we can get past him just through the slipstream, then I will, but what's the point in trying to go for moves through the middle sector so early on in the day? As you can see, a lot closer this time around. We might try and go slow in, fast out off the bus stop. So yeah, there's just no... I mean, round here you don't want to go for it, because of course you'll just get straight back past you. Just sit back for now, make it very clear that, you know, we want to play sensibly. It's a good result potentially on the board for both of us here. If we can get a good run off here, like I said, we'll go for it. but let's just wait and see there as we try and get slipstream off the corner. Surely this time around, 3/10 back is going to be a lot more close to try and do something. Every time I've noticed Nikolai still loses a fair bit of time through the bus stop.
We really need to be in front of this car.
Yeah, crew chief still doesn't quite have the same idea as I've got for this one. Head to the outside, back down towards turn 1. Tries to keep the nose there though, we can't really do a lot about it.
He's still there. Hold your line.
Which he will.
Clear left. Sector 2 is 0.6 off the pace.
27 thousandths of a second when we crossed the line last time round. I'm still not trying to battle you down here. Please, man. Especially don't want to pick up a 4X early on or anything stupid like that. Just see. And then the slipstream. You know, these Mercs really are quite slipstream dependent. And get a lot of extra speed out of them. We just starting to cost each other a little bit of time here. We're not really pulling out ahead of some of the cars anymore. I mean, well, it is iRacing still at the end of the day, but why would we risk potentially throwing away a good, well, you know, the chance for quite an easy good result early on here? And of course, like I said, you know, 10 minutes to go. Get the gloves off, yeah, absolutely. You know, punches will be thrown, but 10 minutes in, why? Plus, I know he's quicker than me still. You know, we may as well just use him for his pace and then try to catch him out late on in the day. He'll be braking though into the bus stop once more. Don't want to upset the rear. Again, we'll get a nice run off the corner. I was pleasantly surprised when I got back into this, like I said, you know, I drove it a bit last season throughout the first few races of the championship. Was very, very impressed. You know, this thing has really sort of given me the enjoyment to race GT4 cars again. You know, really have hated most of them that have come along before now. You know, the McLaren I felt was awful. The Porsche had no top end speed. The BMW felt just incredibly sluggish. But this Mercedes seems like a good balance. The Aston Martin I didn't mind either.
Car
there.
left. Clear left.
See you going down to turn 1. We'll take out another cone. Felt like he moved a little bit more towards my line, but perhaps we were just slowly meeting in the middle, as it will allow us to get a fantastic run off the corner. Luckily, of course, yeah, no slowdowns, no 1Xs down at turn 1. Otherwise, I'd probably get DQ'd from most races I do around Daytona. But
force that mistake.
yeah, we'll just sort of keep our head down and focus a little bit and see what transpires. Someone has very much missed their turn 1 there. That was quite impressive just how far off the road Rob had gone. But now we're going to get a mega run on Giacomo this time round to the outside before we even get back towards the bus stop. Get a run off the corner definitely as we head down the banking.
Still there.
See how much extra speed that's going to carry for us, but again,
Still there. Clear
worth
left.
it. Plus he's going to be offline on the way in, which might compromise his run on the way out. He does collect it up rather nicely. Yeah, I think Rob certainly had issues there. This time round, again, we're going to get a really good run off the corner, but yeah, gaps to the cars we need to be going up aren't going up as much as I would like. Let's see what we can do though.
Car left.
Really try and get the slingshot off the banking.
Still there.
We're going to be able to do that towards the start-finish line.
Still there.
We're very close as we get back to turn 1.
Hold your line.
He's very confident on the brakes there. Down at that first turn. Always scared of that tyre wall, but
pretty consistent.
yeah, we're consistent on lap times, but they're not very good at the moment. Why on earth we're battling around in the 54s? I will never know, but I mean, this is good fun all at the same time, of course. It's just when it all goes to head quite early still, then we're going to be quite angry, I would feel. I have just had a bit of an idea that I'm trying to incorporate over the last couple of laps. Why don't we just try and save fuel behind him? What's the point in trying to go side by side if every time he's going to be able to defend it back down towards turn 1? We may as well just try and see if we can recover more fuel, which we absolutely have done.
Fuel left. That was a 153.4.
Saved about 0.3 laps worth of fuel over about the last 2 laps, so I don't know why I'm in third gear there on the exit turn 1, but yeah, why not just save the fuel? We'll save times in the pit stops. I mean, we're planning, I'm hoping that we won't have to change tyres during this, but It won't quite give us enough, of course, to do one less pit stop in this race. I mean, another 25 minutes or so. We're only going to be able to do 50 minutes on a tank. 20 minutes worth of fuel saving, you know, over a third of a tank is quite optimistic. I think even on the best of days, but yeah, why not just save a little bit? You know, even if it just gives us 5-10 seconds towards the end. Of course, at Daytona, throughout the slipstream, that can be a huge advantage. Again, though, I'm saying all that, we are 25 minutes in. Still over an hour and a half worth of racing to go, but pretty much since lap 2, the gap between us hasn't been more than 1.3 seconds. We are just taking him for all his clean air. The other good thing, of course, as we get towards the half-hour mark, is that Giacomo, I think, is realising, of course, that we're not trying to battle him at the moment, and he is still much, much faster than everyone else in this field. Cars behind setting 53.7s. He's just dragging me along in the 53.2, so we may as well just keep using him to try and open up this gap, so you can just see how much we can lift and coast down here. So we really are trying to utilise him for all he's worth, and then hopefully later in the day we're going to punish him with it. But it's a long plan, we must admit. You know, a lot can happen in the next hour and a half still, but it's the plan I'm going to try until, of course, something crazy happens at the pit stops. But who knows? You know, if it does work out, I might well have played the ultimate long game here at Daytona. As you can just see there, lost a bit through the bus stop, but just easy gains back down the straights. As you can see, we're just continuing to save fuel. Big blend as we get back down to turn 1. I think he's now starting to try and do the same, and I'm not right on him, so he might just have sort of been made aware of our plans. But am I worried? No, not really. He's still, yeah, going 9/10 quicker than the cars behind. Gap now up to 12 seconds. I mean, this guy's fast, but luckily, there's only so fast you can go around here with someone sat in your slipstream. I'm like an annoying puppy, just all over the back of him, but with no intention of doing anything. So maybe not such an annoying puppy.
There's an incident in International Horseshoe. It looks like it's Diaz.
And that's the 3 behind us that have clearly done something, because now we've got 17 seconds for the cars in front. I'm off exploring for some reason.
Track limits,
Down at the Horseshoe. Up to 4 instant points though, getting a little bit annoyed with the few I am slowly picking up. Most of them, of course, just coming from the bus stop. But yeah, it's just that other thing, of course, of when he does pit, do I still put a whole tank of fuel in and pit at the same time, of course, so we don't end up out in front of him, so then he just does the same to me? Or do we just try and... because I reckon we have probably saved so we can go 1 lap longer than him. Do I then just go that 1 lap longer and hope we come out in front? Or well, I don't quite know what the game plan is in terms of pit strategy. Of course, I'm not putting fresh tyres on. Will he put fresh tyres on? Could we then end up with like a 10-second advantage? I don't know whether... would tyres actually cost you any time in the GT4 cars? I wonder if... I reckon you might be able to fill them up and put tyres in at the same time. I don't see any reason why not. I reckon that might have to be the way we go there. You won't lose any time by putting fresh tyres on. Let's just set it up just in case. So it might be about to haunt us, but even then, if we know we got quicker rubber, whether it's going to be half a second worth is a different story. But you gotta take the rough with the smooth still. And even then, we're still 20 seconds in front of the cars behind. But yeah, I can't remember about tyres. I've never done a GT4. Well, I've done one GT4 endurance, and I never got to drive, sadly. I tried to do the Spa 12 hours with a couple of buddies a few months ago in the I can never remember the name of the endurance series that iRacing does. And yeah, we got murdered about 40 minutes in the Aston Martin around, yeah, obviously Spa. It's Spa 12 hours. So yeah, that was frustrating. Just got absolutely destroyed down at the source by a guy trying to dive bomb about 6 cars. But yeah, so I don't actually know about that with these GT4s. I can't see why they would be different to the GT3s. But oh wait. Well, I think we're starting to see some different strategies appearing in this race. I think some people are just trying to go for 3 even stints here. See, I'm trying to go long, then I'll probably just go long again, and then just splash and dash towards the line. But we are still, yeah, free lap. Saving fuel. Ooh, that was definitely not quite where I wanted to be. That might give him a little bit of an opportunity there as he really tries to launch the car off the corner. Gonna need to use all the slipstream this time round. out of the banking, but yeah, that's not quite what I wanted. But again, you know, it's so easy, of course, to just recover those little bits of time once again. Crew chief still, yeah, is not happy with the game plan that I'm following, but now, well, it was 23 seconds in for a brief moment. No idea on what's going on with the live timing. Apparently now we've got a 50-second lead over P15 and P16, so don't know what's gone on there, but now we're actually going to have to go for a bit of a push lap here, just to make sure he doesn't break free. Don't want any mistakes, nothing like that. Otherwise we're going to have to work very, very hard again. There we go, timing all back. 20 seconds to get to the guys in front, and that is just all on Giacomo's raw pace. Right, quick sit rep then. Nearly 45 minutes in, we are now right back, well and truly staring at the back of another Mercedes AMG here. Luckily it is still the one in the lead of the race. Thought I better just specify that. I mean, this could be a really good lap if I get a good run out of the bus stop here. Of course, getting that extra bit of slipstream, starting from further back, means that we are able to carry ourselves a whole lot closer. You know, it might be nice to try and sneak away fast lap, albeit only for a short period now, not with a run like that off the corner. Might improve, but see, I think fastest time's still around the 52.4s. We're going to be nowhere near that this time round, but this could still be an improvement. Delta, in fact, now actually going the right way again. This could be down into the 52.7s, which an improvement is an improvement still at the end of the day. Not going to help if I decide to duck out the slipstream for some reason, but 3 laps worth of fuel. Like I said, I can't imagine that Giacomo was going to be able to do that extra lap that I'm going to be able to, but now we're just back into fuel saving mode again. It's very, very early on the brakes by him. I don't know what's going on there. Team just warning me then, we've got 2 laps worth of fuel left in the tank. Of course, I reckon, yeah, Giacomo's going to have to box 1 lap before I do. But we are going to risk it. We're going to put fresh tyres on the car. Like I said, I think with a full tank of fuel, it won't make any difference time-wise. I think obviously when we do the slash and dash at the end, though, we won't worry about it. Of course, track is going further and further into the night, so colder temperatures mean less tyre wear. We've even got a few lap cars now starting to get into the way. It would have been nice to have some TCR cars, I suppose. You know, even if it was, you know, 40 and 20, or, you know, sort of 30 and 18, that sort of thing. Just so you had a few TCRs in the lobby, but I guess obviously all of them would have been lumped up with top split. So it is what it is, and I mean, at the moment we're of course still having a very, very good fun race. One of the weirdest races I've done in terms of strategy up to now, but yeah, kind of got to go against everything you really know on iRacing, just trying to save fuel, and of course trying not to actually go for a move there. I don't think I've sat behind someone in the lead of a race for this long ever, like in any race, and still not tried to go for it. As Daytona, one of the other fastest drivers in this one, now out, so no idea what's happened there, but are we going to see Giacomo in? Yes, we are, so we have saved that 1 lap of fuel in comparison to him. Now we really need to push then over this lap.
You're in the lead. Matching race pace. We're running on fumes, mate. In this lap. Box this lap.
Luckily, crew chief still believes we have got enough fuel to see us at this lap. And I mean, if we can get into the slipstream of the car in front of Rob, that would be rather nice. That's not going to do me any favours. Luckily, only a temporary blip, I think we'll dub it there. So yeah, now it's a bit weird not to have a Mercedes right in the vision, I suppose. But yeah, maybe if we can do an overcut, that'd be quite nice. But of course, it's all pretty irrelevant unless we can get him out of the slipstream, and even then, Giacomo is so quick. It's probably not going to be at the slipstream for very long, even if we are, but trying to get a good run as best as possible around this part of the lap. Is it a Porsche Cayman? Quite surprised by that around here. Is nice load of traction bog there. Might get a faint draft off the Cayman just up the road, but yeah, make sure we've got full tank of fuel going in.
2 litres left.
Yeah, we have got tyres going onto the wagon as well. It'll be interesting to see if we've got any optionals at all. Can't imagine we would, but you never know. This is iRacing after all. It's just again, you know, don't want to risk anything stupid into the bus stop last lap before the pit window.
Very little fuel left.
Might risk it on the exit though. Well, actually, it's not been too shabby. So we have clearly got a lot of pace still through the infield. Of course, we'll lose all that as we head back around the banking, but this could be quite interesting to see where we do come out. And of course, we need to make sure that we're sensible through the pit, obviously slowing it down for the pit lane. Rob is going to come in as well. We'll break about there.
Pretty nice and tidy.
I suddenly thought for a minute that the limiter wasn't on. And luckily it is, of course. Make sure we're right down the far end, number 22 in this race. Right, and let's just see then if we lose any time. Yeah, no, they're both doing it all at the same time, and fuel fill-up is incredibly slow in these GT4 cars. We shouldn't have too much to worry about. It's going to be... might cost us a little bit there, but, you know, a couple of extra tenths in the back pocket each lap. Yeah, actually, is it worth... I don't know whether it's worth just not putting the rear tyres on, to be honest. Yeah, let's scrap the rear tyres then for this. Obviously, still got to put the fuel in. Yeah, we won't bother with the rear tyres, though. We'll just do the fronts. There's still got a lot more fuel having to go into the car. Where on earth... is someone else doing an extra lap? I don't think so, but... yeah, where on earth are we going to come out in comparison to Giacomo? Let's go. Very, very slow on the getaway. There is Giacomo. Of course, got this horrendously long Daytona pit lane, though. But new front tyres on the wagon then. Like I said, we probably don't need the rears. Of course, they don't take much of a pounding around this circuit. He's going to be quite close on pit exit. We have actually done it. We've got the jump on him then by 1.5 seconds. How long that's going to be 1.5 seconds, I don't quite know just yet, as of course I've got to try and deal with heavy fuel and a bit of a mismatch on the tyres. But yeah, don't want to take any more tyres before the end of this one. We have to work out how much fuel we're going to need for 20 minutes or so. We're going to need, what, 2/5 of a tank, so about 8-9 gallons to see us through to the end. But immediately then, yeah, we got Giacomo back inside the 1 second. But yeah, just those little margins can make a big, big difference. But if he comes back at me, again, we're probably not going to fight it, because of course we may as well just save the fuel and then try and do the same thing towards the end of the race. I am really, really interested to see what Giacomo's strategy is going to be here. So we do sit in the slipstream of the Cayman just in front. Keep a nice draft off of him. Going to sit. He's going to be a little bit sporadic, but he is just going to sit there on the inside. As here comes Giacomo then, back down towards turn 1. Is he going to try and hook it up around the outside? You know what? You can have it, mate.
Clear right.
Maybe that's not what he wanted me to do, but that's what we're going to do again. May as well just sit behind him, save fuel, and then later on in the day, we'll have to really push on. Try and make sure that we've got a jump. You know, even if we can just save another lap now, 2 laps less fuel towards the end is easily a good few seconds in terms of fuel around here, because of course we now know the fill-up is so slow. It can easily be sort of 4 or 5 seconds, which, I mean, over the last 10 laps he might still be able to close in, but, you know, I want to give myself a fair shot at the crown today. I'm really interested to know Giacomo's psychology at the moment, you know, what he's thinking in that Mercedes, of course, because if he's obviously well aware of what I'm doing, then he's probably trying to work out how he can counter it. If he's just sort of racing and wondering why I'm not going for moves still, and he's genuinely got no idea what I've got planned, how upset could he be if this works, of course? That is still the big thing in this race. We've got Janek on the outside in his Porsche. You know, if we're going to completely bamboozle him, then that would be...
car left, clear left.
Like, the play of the century. Like, for him. Of course, it seems really obvious to me, but you never obviously know who you're racing against. Like I said, he's very, very fast, but, you know, if that was me in that car, obviously, and someone else was doing this to me, you know, I'd be trying to work out, obviously, what they're doing. But then you'd sort of be thinking, surely you've just got to try and do it to them as well. Unless, of course, he's put a lot less fuel in the car, obviously, and then he's... well, no, because he can't have, because obviously our pit times were near enough the same. He could pit a lot earlier than me and just have a heavier car for a little while? I don't really know. Perhaps I'm overcomplicating things and he knows what I'm doing and he's just going to try and race to the flag, because, like I said, if we can build up, you know, a 4 or 5 second margin later on in the day, of course, I've spent so long following his lines here that I don't actually believe we'd be much slower at all once we got the tyres up to temperature. And of course, this time round, you know, we won't be boxing for fresh tyres again. We are going to be sticking with these 2 with a flag. I really don't know at the moment. Like I said, maybe I am overcomplicating things. We're just over the half distance, though. An hour and 1 minute in. 59 minutes to go. We are saving plenty of fuel at the moment. You know, we could recover 2 laps worth this stint. That was a really nice run off there, but now even I'm just short-shifting off corners. Just make sure we save that little bit more. We're going to let the car just sip on fuel at the moment. I think a few laps ago we were at 0.3 when we crossed the line, then it went up to about 0.5. Of course, we're already going to be able to go a lap longer than him anyway. Just again, tuck into the slipstream. I mean, we are saving, literally at the moment, litres upon litres of fuel. Now it's up to 0.7 each time round. It is really just going to be a splash towards the end. You know, has Giacomo worked out a counter that I simply can't see yet? I really don't know. This is chess at 160 miles an hour for 2 hours. Does a chess match normally last 2 hours? I've never played that much chess. Oh, big wobble there from Giacomo as we head out of the chicane.
Right side's clear.
We're basically going to have to take the lead of the race for a moment. If he tries to get a run on me back down towards turn 1. I'll probably just let him have it, but clearly he's starting to feel a little bit of pressure. First mistake we've seen him make all day. There's someone else apparently having issues a bit further around. I've got no idea where they are on the radar. As we'll go high in towards turn 1. If he wants the inside, he's more than welcome to him. No, he's going to lift off.
Into turn 5. You're now in the lead. You're 2/10 off the pace in Sector 1. Sector 2 time is good.
Easy.
Sector 3 is
Very, very easy down at turn 1. Ooh, he's going to come straight back at me though on the exit.
Clear right.
But no, he's trying to play the game now, I think. As we get into the second half this afternoon, he knows my game plan and he's just going to try and steer into it a little bit. Whether it's worth... Now, perhaps I really am trying to play this like 4D chess when I really don't need to be. Is it worth just being a little bit slower now we're in front of him? Lull him into a false sense of security that if he gets back past me, he will be able to pull away. You know, whether he just thinks we're getting everything because of the slipstream. So I think that might be a bit too much. We'll see if he can get a run on me again around the banking. But yeah, we really are. It's been a weird little game so far. An interesting race, of course. This is why I love Daytona for endurances. You know, it's just such a different endurance race, of course. You know, theoretically on paper you think, oh, it's quite similar to Le Mans. You've got huge straights, obviously a few chicanes in the middle, and then a bit of a squiggly bit. Very, very basic description of Le Mans 24 hours, but, you know, Daytona is a fairly similar sort of story. He's definitely lifting off at the moment, and maybe we'll just do the same still. Let's get down through the bus stop, nice and tidy on the way in. So you're going to be able to get a run on the exit. Yeah, I'm really wondering, I think he's trying to play the game now, but have we been doing it long enough that he's not quite going to be able to recover it to where he wants to be? I mean, we're still going to short shift. He feels he can get a run now because I'm short shifting, then by all means he's more than welcome to it, but no, he's lifted out. He's trying to play along. So, I mean, if he wants to sit behind, we may as well just keep lifting where we were anyway on the run back down towards turn 1. Save that little bit of fuel, why not, eh? Don't let him suddenly start gaining an advantage out of it. Let's still call the shots here. Hour and 7 minutes in, 53 to go, about another half hour till the second pit window. That, I think, is going to be where this race is truly won or lost. Yeah, let's keep calling the shots.
Left side.
Oh, here we go. He's coming straight back at me, though. We'll let him have it. He don't want to play the game.
Don't panic. We'll get him back.
We certainly will, crew chief. Yeah, I reckon we might just be in his head a little bit at the moment. Again, we've still got to try and keep it on the road all in one piece. The next 50 minutes still. 40 minutes is pointless if we don't bin it. But yeah, I was just having a look at the gaps actually. 34 seconds back now to P3. And that is genuinely all just thanks to him. He is so rapid in this Mercedes. As we get over the line, we'll just blend that throttle again. Why not, eh?
That lap was a 154.3.
We have saved over another lap's worth, haven't we? We might save 2 laps in this stint worth of fuel. A little bit of a wobble there. I mean, it goes to show how much Daytona we've done today. The fact we kind of know exactly the line through that chicane now. Sort of just from muscle memory there. Everyone, we've got a face full of Mercedes bottom just in front of us, but Yeah, I reckon we've got 16 more laps of fuel. That would be close to 32. About 30 minutes, being sensible. So it would take us here to the hour 40 mark. I think, yeah, 8.2 gallons would be enough to see us to the end. Of course, there's no point doing all this fuel saving if then we accidentally put way too much fuel in the car to get to the flag. So we just got to make sure when we get down to about that mileage, of course we will need slightly extra, of course, because I'm planning that we'll be seconds in front and won't have a slipstream. So we might have to just top it up a little bit extra, or if, of course, 8.2 gallons is looking like it might be slightly over what we would need, then we'll risk it. But yeah, we've still got to try and play the maths. So, I mean, still, even when we're mucking around with each other, matching pretty much the times of the cars in front. Once again, we'll get close, we'll get close, we'll get close, and we'll lift off the throttle. This is how to do an economy drive with Matt today. And hopefully, in the process, accidentally, I mean, if, and it's a big if still, if we do win this, it'll probably be the biggest shithouse win I've ever had on iRacing. But, you know, that's the way it goes sometimes. And especially at a track like Daytona, you got to do it. You just got to play that game. I know I keep saying it, but, you know, iRacing, some people will moan that I've called it a game, but it is. There's games within the game. So we are now slowly finding ourselves having to lap a couple more cars later on in the day. Next up, Juan Carlos. So we don't really want lap cars between us. Luckily, he does completely jump out of the way there. Thank you very much for that. That's a bit of saviour. If he got in between us then, that could have been really damaging for our plan in this one. But yeah, Giacomo just trying to push a little bit on, I think. And again, you know, it's all well and good getting a 7/10 margin through the middle sector. Just come back to me, mate. Just come back. It's fine. Don't worry. It's bound to happen. So all the way back through here, of course, because we're still gaining. You know, if we just won't lift off one lap. We'll actually rev the car out one lap. Still saving plenty of fuel overall. You just see that Mercedes, those rear headlights, just get bigger and bigger again. The other thing we have still got to be careful of, though, is when we do get round towards lap cars, got to make sure we are close enough that, you know, they will let us both through in one go. Of course, you would hope in an endurance race like this, if they see the leaders separated by 0.6 of a second, that most people will naturally jump out of the way and let both cars by, but you never quite know what's going through a lot of people's minds, as this should be a new personal best for the day. I think, yeah, Giacomo is really trying to give it his all now.
That was at 152.
I think there was an opportunity to open up the gap. I was actually a lot earlier on the brakes than I thought I was. Down at turn 1, got stopped really nicely. Almost accidentally there into that first corner. You kind of just expect yourself have to lunge it in. But sometimes, you know, this Merc does grip up rather nicely. There is Aston Martin just in front. Yeah, it seems like Mercedes is the choice. Someone else having issues then. Let's see if that gap opens up. I mean, I am intrigued to see how many cars we're going to be able to lap still by the end of this. I really do love the fact I'm saying all this when all of it has come from Giacomo's pace. You know, I'd probably be down there back with Javier or something like that, probably even further back, to be honest. Because of course we would have had to have been locked into battles. We got so lucky early on. That's not going to do me any favours. That might just give him a bit of a window of opportunity. I mean, yeah, we just got so lucky so early on that so many cars battled each other that we were able to latch on. As you can see now, he's flashing his headlights.
The gap in front
Aston
is
Martin.
It's now 1.1.
The Aston Martin lets him by, then we might be in deep trouble. If not, it's not good driving by him. Ugh, don't want to do that. It's going to really compromise my run through. Oh, where am I off? Please don't. No slowdown. Oh, it's all going a bit pear-shaped. Aston Martin does jump out of the way. Had I potentially picked up a tiny bit of aero damage, though, in the process there. We need this Aston Martin to let us by. Small slip up at around 2/3 distance. Of course, we'll gain a bit of time through the pit window anyway. But that's not going to do me any favours then at the moment. Of course, we should get some slipstream on the Aston Martin just behind him, but we cannot lose sight. We have to keep pushing. Nice tidy run down towards turn 1. I hope this Aston Martin's going to jump out of the way quite soon. It's just these little scary moments he gets. He really doesn't want to move out of the way, does he? I'm going to just get all over his rear end. he's going to move for us down at the next horseshoe. So the gap has opened up to 1 second. He's not going to move still. I mean, he's kind of helping me now, of course, because we remain to get slipstream off him as well. But yeah, this Aston Martin not doing anyone any favours. Quite surprised to see this, to be honest. Not great driving, as well. Giacomo, I still think, struggling just up the road, but I mean, are you letting me by or what? He really doesn't want to lose himself any time, apparently, but luckily, yeah, Giacomo's still, I think, feeling the pressure. Felt it was an opportunity to break free, but of course you cannot overdrive these GT4 cars. They will absolutely not allow it. So I wonder if I have just scuffed the front end slightly. I think it is alright. We'll find out, of course, when we box quite soon, but yeah, that was, again, another big opportunity for Giacomo that is left wanting.
Stay close, wait for him to crack.
It's going to be a 1x for us. That might be a slowdown for him, though. Very, very wide on the exit. Unfortunately, because this was going to be a really fast lap as well. This could have been down in towards a low 52. But yeah, now with a 1x, it's not going to materialise, or it will, but we won't get any reward for it. And we'll start finish, so I may as well see what this lap time could have been anyway. It's pretty much the perfect amount of slipstream up towards the line. Would have been a 52.2. That is deeply frustrating. Just that little 1x, but I'd be intrigued to know how many he's on. I don't think he's got quite as many as me, but I reckon he's on sort of 4. I mean, we're already on 6, so we hopefully are going to gain some SR from this, but still a long way to go. You know, a couple of 4x's and any SR gained is down the drain. The other really important thing, I just missed it, but we'll know roughly 8.2 gallons of fuel is about 10 laps. So we've boxed with about an hour 40 on the clock. Of course, we'll lose just under a minute through the pit lane. I might try and have to go 1 lap extra, but I reckon 8.2 gallons, yeah, is pretty much exactly what we want. But of course, we have got to remember we're going to use a little bit more fuel in the dying stages here. Just keep going. Just keep playing the game. Know what we're capable of, and really good as well to see that Giacomo, you know, he isn't perfect in these cars. He can still overdrive it and make mistakes. It might get into his head later on in the day if he's trying to close back in a gap. Oh yes, another car there just dips out of the way at the right time. Doesn't give him any help whatsoever. Thank you very much to Juan.
On your right.
Please don't head back down towards my line though, mate. I got a little bit close for comfort. As we head back down towards the start-finish line, we have just let Giacomo get away a little bit over the last couple of laps. A couple of small blunders here and there. Didn't stick in. Giving him that false sense of security.
We're matching race pace.
Late on in the day. We are matching race pace still at the moment. Got a little bit of a wobble there as we really try to maximise the run at turn 1, but we're still definitely in the slipstream range, which of course is hopefully going to carry me to victory.
Gaining on the car in front.
Might just have to try and actually cross the line with a fast time this time round, because I do really want to try and get a good representative personal best in this race. So back down over the start finish line, then we'll lift off the throttle. There we go, 52.51. Sorry.
Right now. That last lap was a 152.5.
I just want a competitive fastest lap. That's all I'm after. No idea what the fastest is still, but we know what we have that 52.2. You know, I think if I was Giacomo late on in the day here, what I would have done is probably boxed about now. Okay, he can read minds. Yeah, surely he hasn't run out of fuel just yet. And then obviously just try and utilise your own pace a little bit more late on in the day. I mean, now that's going to mean we've got to push on. We've got another 5 laps worth of fuel.
4.3 off the pace.
And of course, yeah, that is about half a tank's worth, half of what we're going to put in towards the end. So we are going to box about 10 laps worth more of fuel in. So it's going to take us to about lap 53. So yeah, 8.2 is hopefully going to be about bang on. But you know, even if he has to put full set of tyres on something like that, we should now be able to gain. But I'm going to need constant low 53s, preferably high 52s between now and the end. Sweat mode has got to be engaged. these are going to be laps that are going to define this race. If we can get some slipstream, things like that as well, even better. Right, so we've still got Giacomo on the radar then. The gap 50.5 seconds. Going to have to really monitor that over the next couple of laps, of course, before we do inevitably make our pit stop here. It's going to be a really interesting gap to follow, of course, because he was going to get some slipstream off of Javier. It's not like he's moved past him just yet, but again, obviously the results will only update when we get right round to the start-finish line. But yeah, we're setting fairly competitive lap times, low 53s. Of course, hopefully if we gain a little bit of time now, if he's stuck back in the other cars, and of course then we should gain a little bit through the pit window. It's still going to be possible. Oh no! Oh, has he been wrecked or something? No!
Turn 2.
That is genuinely gutting. He's been rapid. Obviously, again, even if we had sort of shit out the victory, he's just told me his race is over. He was definitely the quicker driver today. Oh, that is so gutting. Just less than a half hour on the clock. I'm guessing, yeah, he's been involved in the incident. I thought it was just the timing loop that wasn't updating. But yeah, I mean, that was an hour and 25 minutes worth of racing. No contact. There was no 0x's or anything between the two of us. It was just good, clean racing, of course. We were being a little bit cheeky with all the slipstream. Yep, no, he's gone. That is gutting, but I mean, it should mean for us, we've been carried along by him to a 40-second lead, 45-second lead now by the looks of it on the timing screens. It's just, I suppose we've got to just bring the car home, but that is genuinely devastating for him. Like I said, he's been rapid all day long, and he absolutely did deserve the win. To be honest, even if we come out a couple of seconds behind him, you know, he did just carry us along. You know, he was certainly the quicker car. But that's the way racing goes sometimes, I suppose. And yeah, 25 minutes to the flag, about another 12 or 13 laps. Of course, we can afford just to put a little bit of extra fuel in. No need to risk that anymore. Just dump it up to 9 gallons. And yeah, that is so disappointing. You know, he was a brilliant racer. But it's all come to an end. So close to home for him. But yeah, like I said, we'll box still at the end of our stint. We've got one more lap on this set of this tank of fuel. So yeah, we are going to need 11 laps worth, so it might be worth just putting a little bit extra in. Still, we'll go 10 gallons. That should see us comfortably to the checkered flag. But yeah, so much fun racing him. Just gutted. It's ended, well, potentially ended the way it has, of course. You never know what might happen still. With 20 minutes to the flag, we could get wrecked by someone, but 47 seconds the gap to Roberto behind.
153.6.
Right into the pit stand at the end of this one. Let's just make sure we keep it clean and tidy through the boss stop. Of course, we've already got nothing worth risking at this stage of the day. Let's just make sure we get the car into the pit lane nice and tidy. So we're going to put in just a little bit of extra fuel there. We're going to put 11 laps worth just so we can definitely make it around to the flag. But is it worth, just in case we stretch out onto... I mean, what's the point in not... You know, we haven't got anything to worry about. We may as well just put an extra bit of fuel in. Why risk it late on in the day? Same for yourself for just getting into the pit lane. Nice and tidy on the way in there. Left a little bit on the table. But yeah, no tyres, of course. Good. We'll just put more fuel into the car. Someone else there. Is that Giacomo's car? I don't know. Get it stopped nice and tidy. And yeah, you can just see how slow these things do fill up. So, you know, we've probably saved a good few seconds against him. I mean, we'll have a look. If we were going to put 8 gallons in. 8 gallons, yeah, might not have been enough actually to see us through to the flag. But let's just count how many seconds it is going to cost.
20 minutes to go. 20 minutes.
From 8 up to 10, which is about what he would have had to put in. It's about 4 or 5 seconds. So it would have made a big difference late on in the day. It reckons we got 13 laps worth of fuel to see us out to the flag. Remember, obviously, not to take the limiter off there. Done that before in a couple of little races, but just blend the throttle as you head out through that hairpin and back out now onto the racetrack we go. Still, yeah, 20 more minutes to go of this race. We should be able to close it back to a lap extra, but yeah, we've definitely got enough fuel to get to the flag. We'll see about gaps in soon. So far, things are looking pretty good still. Might be a lonely finish, but it's a lonely finish in the hopefully in the lead. Well, rounding the banking then to start the last lap here of this 2-hour Daytona endurance. Obviously not really a lot has gone on over the last 20 minutes or so, but we have found a BMW. Yeah, I couldn't believe that when I saw him a couple of laps back. He's actually been pretty quick in that thing, but starting the last lap we go then to hopefully walk away with the victory. We've got a 50-second lead over the cars behind, so it really has been an interesting tale here from Daytona. But like I said, it would have been very, very interesting to see how Giacomo and I got on towards the end. That's probably the widest I've ran through turn 1 all day long, but we are going to get onto a 63rd lap here. I think it would have been very, very tight, actually, whether the cars behind would have been able to, but one more lap around this circuit. Yeah, like I said, really, Giacomo certainly was the fastest man today. You know, absolutely deserved the, the lead he had. We were just completely hanging on to his coattails throughout the entirety of this one. But yeah, I don't know what happened to him. Must have been wrecked by someone or got into someone. Something happened that meant he was unable to continue there. And it's, sadly for us, I'm certainly happy to win races, but you want to fight for him at the end of the day. And I was genuinely just intrigued to see how the strategy would have paid out, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Yeah, if Pablo had been the leader, we wouldn't have got an extra lap in here. But what a way to kickstart the IMSA Pilot Championship. 2 hours here at Daytona. We haven't led much of it, but we've been within a second of the lead since about lap 2. So it really has, playing that strategy game early on was very, very good fun. And yeah, just a bit gutted that it's ended up working out the way it has. Happy to win, but really wanted to try and fight for it and earn it towards the end. But we kept it clean and tidy. We did everything we possibly could today. As we round the banking for the final time, Mercedes are going to walk away with the race victory here in the first round of the season. And fingers crossed we can continue this good run of form. Really am enjoying the GT4 Merc still on iRacing. This race certainly hasn't changed my opinion of that. But down towards the end of the iconic tri-oval, we are going to win here at Daytona. Hopefully we're going to see some fireworks as well after we cross the line. But really, really happy with that result there. Don't know how long the video's going to be, but yeah, really, really happy with that one. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed it, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed. We'll have a quick look at the fireworks all down the back stretch. But that's going to do us for this one then, and we will return very, very soon with more iRacing.